Hey guys, what is up? And sorry about that, I'm still a little bit sick, but welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be letting you know how to squat for maximum quad growth. You know, if you don't know, there are two primary muscles that are working during the squat. There's the quadriceps, of course, for the knee flexion, but also your glutes for hip flexion. So today, I'm going to be telling you how to better isolate your quads rather than your glutes, because I feel like for the majority of guys anyway, we care more about having those bulging watermelon quads with those amazing quad sweeps from the front and rear rather than the glutes. Not saying they're not important, and there are other, exercises I do to work them, but when I'm really squatting, I want to bias my quads more. So I'm going to be telling you guys exactly how to do that. So when we think of working the quads on a squat, we think of getting as much knee flexion as possible. Now, there are 4 heads to the quads, and only 3 of them cross the knee joint. The fourth, all 4 of them cross the knee joint, sorry, but the rectus femoris, that 4th head, also crosses the hip joint. So when we do a squat, it's not getting worked very well at all. But we want to at least grow those other 3 heads really well with squats. So the first tip I'm going to have is use lifting shoes. And what I'm talking about is shoes that have an elevated heel here, because when your heel is elevated, it's going to force you to have more knee flexion. It's also good for flexibility as well, like if your ankles aren't as flexible. So I think lifting shoes are absolutely fantastic. Now, if you don't have lifting shoes when you're doing squats, you can get like little 2.5 plates and just put them under your heels as you're squatting down. It will give you the same effect, and that's going to allow the knees to track forward more, which is going to give us a lot more knee flexion rather than hip flexion in the movement. The next thing is, if you're doing any hack squats, pendulum squats, or really any machine squats of any kind, I would recommend you place your feet as low as you comfortably can on the platform. Again, that's going to allow your knees to track forward a lot, which is going to induce a lot more knee flexion rather than hip flexion. So the higher your feet go on the platform, the more hip flexion you're going to get. So it's going to be a little bit more glute dominant versus the lower you go, the little bit more quad dominant. Now, personally for me, I kind of like to go somewhere in the middle to get a little bit of both worlds. But recently, I've actually been slightly biasing the quads a little bit more, and I've been going a little bit lower on the platform. So even on a leg press or anything like that, the lower you go on the platform, the more knee flexion you're going to be able to get. So you're going to be able to get more quad tension and quad growth. The next tip is we gotta go ass to grass. Go as low as you can. Now, obviously, I've said this before in other videos, progressive overload your way to going that low, but I mean, it's not even just low, that low. It's not just good for quad growth. It's even going to grow your glutes more too. So there's just really no reason to not squat that low unless you have a knee injury or something like that, or you're not as flexible. But obviously, you can build your way up with certain exercise to become more flexible to be able to do that. The next tip is, if you're like barbell back squatting or doing like any kind of barbell squats, you ideally would be doing a high bar squat, because that's going to place more of the tension to your quads rather than your glutes. So you want to place the bar on almost like your upper trap area, whereas if you're doing a low bar squat, you're going to place that on your lower trap area, and that's the low bar squat. You can actually lift a little bit more weight, but you're going to be engaging the glutes a little bit more, because the line of resistance will be more in line with the glute fibers rather than the quad fibers. So when we do a high bar back squat, we're doing the opposite of that. Now, the even better version of this would be doing a front squat, but for a lot of people, including me, I can't freaking do it because it hurts so damn bad. But if you can do a front squat, then that will hit the quads even better because the resistance profile is placed literally right in front of the quads. So it will target the quads quite a bit more than the glutes. So if you can, front squat, but of course it's so freaking painful. I can't, and I even have to use the freaking pussy pad when I do high bar squats because honestly that shit just hurts so freaking much. Yeah, I'm a pussy, whatever, but I got big freaking quads. The next tip is the belt squat's probably your best friend because like a front squat, the resistance profile when you do the belt squat is in front of you, but it's way more comfortable because you don't have that freaking bar on your shoulders, and it's not axial loading, so it's way less fatigue. So if you want to freaking get the best bang for your buck for the quads, I would have to say the belt squat is probably your best option because it's posing a resistance profile like the front squat without that pain, and it's not axial loading. So the belt squat is something I've been doing for quite a long time. I just ended a stint on it, and I'm now back to doing the pendulum squat, but I love doing the belt squat, and I've been doing it for a long time. Progressive overloaded my way, and it's absolutely blown up my quads. Alright guys, so those are my tips to maximize your quad growth when you are squatting to help you bias the quads over the glutes, and also just to get, the best bang for your buck for the amount of fatigue you're gonna get and, the stimulus that you're driving. So hope this helped. Let me know, do you guys skip leg day? Because I know some of you are skipping leg day, so get your ass in the gym, train your freaking legs. It's literally almost, it's practically half your freaking body, man. How the hell are you skipping that shit? So get your ass in the squat rack, do some barbell squats, get those quads, do the tips I told you, and thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're new here, please do subscribe, and if you made it this far, hit that like button. If you made it this far, you probably liked the video, so thank you so much. I really appreciate all the support recently, but I will see you in the next one. Peace.